What if you were king of a frozen, war-torn realm? What if one morning, you opened your eyes and discovered that an entire frozen kingdom was waiting for you? Not in a dream. Not in a story someone tells you later. Waiting, right now, for you to walk downstairs and lead it. Not as a soldier. Not as an outsider. Not as someone standing behind another ruler. You were king of the North Reaches. At first, the title would feel incredible. You would walk through the halls of Cold Keep and every soldier would lower his head as you passed. Banners bearing your sigil would fly above the walls, your name would echo through the great hall, and thousands of people would look to you for answers. But then you would realize something terrifying. Being king doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want. It means everyone else's problems become your problems. The harvest is poor. The roads need protection. The villages need food. Noble houses are arguing over land and loyalty, and every dispute somehow ends up on your table by nightfall. And beyond the Great Barrier, something much worse is stirring in the dark, patient in a way that should worry you more than it does. You would have to make decisions that could change the lives of thousands of people. Would you send soldiers south to protect your borders? Would you keep them in the north because the frost is only getting deeper? Would you trust the lords who swear loyalty to you, even when you suspect some of them are quietly waiting for you to fail? And then there is the biggest problem. The throne in the south. Some would tell you the North Reaches should remain independent, answering to nobody. Others would insist you have a claim greater than anyone realizes, whispered about in corridors you were never supposed to overhear. And if the truth about your birthright ever became known, suddenly your name wouldn't just matter in the north. It would matter across every kingdom on the continent. Kings, queens, lords, and armies would all have a reason to either support you, or destroy you before you became a threat. But imagine choosing something different. Instead of chasing a crown, you choose your people. You ride beyond the keep when the villages need help. You stand beside ordinary soldiers instead of hiding behind your guards. You listen to the people who have nothing to offer you except their trust. And when the horde beyond the barrier finally marches south, you don't have the luxury of running. You would have to unite people who have spent generations fighting each other. The northern houses. The wandering clans of the frozen hills. The armies of the southern realms. Even people who once called you their enemy. Because against a threat that doesn't care about crowns, family names, or ancient grudges, every living person suddenly shares the same enemy. And that's when being king would stop being about power. It would become about sacrifice. You might lose friends. You might lose soldiers. You might even lose the person you love, in a way you never get to properly say goodbye to. And eventually, you would face the question every ruler fears, alone, usually in the middle of the night when no advisor is around to answer it for you. How much of yourself are you willing to give to protect everyone else? Because wearing that crown wouldn't mean sitting on a throne while everyone else fights your battles. It would mean being the first person to ride into the storm. The first to stand when everyone else is afraid. And the last person willing to leave. So imagine standing on the walls of Cold Keep one final time. Snow falling around you, thick enough to blur the torchlight. Thousands of soldiers waiting below, breath fogging in the cold, watching you rather than the horizon. The gates closed behind you. An army approaching in the distance. And everyone looking at you for one command. You raise your sword. And for the first time, you understand what the title really means. Not king because you were born to rule. King because people are willing to follow you, into weather that would kill most men, against an enemy that has never once been defeated. That's the part the stories usually skip. The crown isn't the reward at the end of the journey. It's the debt you carry every single day you keep it. So, if this were your kingdom, your snow, your dying harvest, and your enemy at the gate, would you choose the crown? Or would you choose the people freezing right alongside you?